Hey guys, it's Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are doing well. If you're new to the channel, thanks for finding me. It's nice to meet you. If you feel like subscribing, that'd be a huge help. Give us a comment, thumbs up, and all that fun stuff that everyone always tells you on YouTube. Guess what? It really does help. What are we here to talk about today? We're here to talk about Armor of God. This is a bit of a strange video, and it's just kind of based on a question that occurred to me while I was watching Armor of God with the 88 Films edition, which I have right here. Hell to the S, the super mega amazing. It's super. I keep saying super because I say mega right after. Super mega. Although I've been reading Dogman to my kids recently. And if we have any fans of Dogman out there, they do say super in Dogman instead of super. So maybe that's where I got it from. But anyway, so my question is this. Is Armor of God the most pivotal film in Jackie Chan's career? And here's why I ask that. And now I know that you could very easily say, well, no, Will, you're an idiot. It's obviously Snake and Eagle, Shadow, and or Drunken Master, because that was the point at which Jackie kind of became Jackie and became the comedy kung fu guy and became a superstar. Or you could say, no, Will, you're an idiot. It's The Young Master, because that's his first film with Golden Harvest, and, you know, he really came into his own as a director. There's like a lot of other films that you can point to, and I totally know that, and I totally understand that. But here's why I asked this question. I'm watching this film, and I'm thinking about how, like, this began shooting at the end of 1985. So think about that. 1985, right? So Jackie has put out The Young Master, huge hit. Dragon Lord, huge hit. Project A, huge hit. And this, like, revolutionary film that, like, basically is, like, the dawn of modern action films in some ways, of, like, that kind of hybrid, like, action, martial arts, stunt kind of, like, that movie really is such a huge movie. And then, you know, Winners and Sinners comes out that same year. Then Wheels on Meals, as I understand, was a really big hit. And then in 1985, Jackie is in Heart of Dragon, My Lucky Stars, Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars, The Protector, and Police Story, which is, you know, we all know about Police Story. It's probably like the greatest action film ever made, and blah, blah, blah. So he's coming off of this huge run of success. And a lot of things are happening in this movie. First of all, we have the fact that I kind of think, and I might be wrong about this, because again, I didn't live through that era. So correct me if I'm wrong. FJ DeSanto, Frank Chang, people watching this who lived through that, who know it so well. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this seems to me to be like the first really intensely self-aware Jackie Chan film, where the film is as much predicated on his celebrity and his personality as a celebrity, and like the Mitsubishi cars and the Kirin beers and Hey, I'm Big in Japan, and like, aren't I cute? Don't you know my shtick? I'm Jackie Chan. Look at me popping the gum in my mouth. Like, it's almost as though the film is about the megastar personality of Jackie Chan and all the accoutrements that come with that, as much as it is about being a movie. And, you know, especially you've got Alan Tam in there, who was a huge, huge star at the time. And like, it's an event film because it's pairing these huge stars together. And this film, in a way, and this is not a knock against this movie at all. I cannot emphasize that point enough. This is a great film, and I had so much fun revisiting it. But this film exists to sell celebrity as much as it exists as a film to tell a story, right? And it seems like this is, to me, the first point at which in Jackie Chan's career you have this mega self-congratulatory, self-aware film about celebrity. So that's the first reason I asked that, is this is almost a turning point in his career, in that it's like, I am aware of who I am, and my films will now become about, like, the films will become these pieces that encapsulate what I know you love about who I am, rather than trying to, in the past, making the best film I can make to get to the point where I can be that person that I am now, right? That's the first reason I wonder this. The second reason is that, you know, Jackie talks a lot about Steven Spielberg with relation to this film, and how he was really influenced by Spielberg and Indiana Jones. But what I notice, and what Frank Chang actually talks about in his audio commentary on this release that I have here, is James Bond. There's, if you look at Jackie Chan going into the 90s, and Jackie Chan wanting to break into international markets. How he's doing that is becoming James Bond, and not necessarily making James Bond movies. Jackie becomes James Bond. He goes all over the world doing all this insane over the top stuff, being this larger than life character who has certain hallmarks to all of his films. And he's going to, goes to mainland China, obviously in Super Cop. He goes to Southeast Asia. And then he's in like Eastern Europe in First Strike. And in Mr. Nice Guy, he's in Australia. And then obviously he's got Rush Hour, which is an American film. And he starts going all over the world and making films in all these exotic locations. And the movies become about, in a way, Jackie in a New Place, Rumble in the Bronx, and like that kind of thing, right? And that is such a defining characteristic of like international fame, Jackie, versus Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, local fame, Jackie, that it's almost like, in a way, I almost see Armor of God as this film that's a pivot, a deliberate pivot towards being a different Jackie, breaking into different markets. And literally, then, when I say, is this the most pivotal Jackie Chan film, I mean, he is pivoting in this film to be someone else. And then also you have the injury, right? So, and combined with the injury, you have this thing of, this is something that you could, Jackie talks about himself and other people have commented on and stuff, right? You start to see Jackie moving away from martial arts and fighting and into the pure stunt work, right? And he talks about how, like, with Project A and the Police Story, he really discovered that like the stunts were, anyone could do the fighting, and even though he had his own style of fighting, people could copy that. The one thing people could never copy him doing was the stunts, because no one was willing to do what he was willing to do. But also the ingenuity that he put into it, and the comedy Buster Keaton influence behind it, that the stunts are really what defined him, and he understood that on Project A and Police Story. But in this movie, you really start moving away from fighting towards stunts. And you see that like with Miracles, which came a couple of years later, with like the rope factory scene. There is fighting in that scene, but that really is just like a mammoth stunt set piece, right? And when there is fighting in these movies, it's about, like in Police Story 2, for instance, which came out the year after Armor of God, there are amazing fight scenes in that movie. The playground, the restaurant, right? But those fight scenes are built around Jackie using objects in the scene in an innovative and clever way that you've never seen before. So they're about stunts, in a way, small stunts, more than they're about pure martial arts fighting. And Armor of God, you start to see that very clear pivot. Whereas like Police Story, maybe you could say it's like a hybrid. Project A is a hybrid. Here, you're really seeing a pivot towards having like one huge spectacular fight, like with the Amazon women, right? But really, even in that fight, there's all these crazy stunts. So, and again, this is really just me having watched this movie, having some ideas in my head, and wondering, that's an interesting theory. And then bringing it to you and being like, I don't know, what do you think? But when I mentioned, I should say, when I mentioned the injury, right? More and more, I think, in Jackie's movies going forward, you start to see bits in which Jackie is doubled by other people, like an acrobatic thing that maybe he can't do or doesn't want to do, motorcycle stunts that he's not going to do because they're too dangerous, right? And you start to see Jackie's focus on kind of the bigger picture of producing and that kind of stuff, and a pivot away from like, I am the fighter movie star, towards like, I am this huge brand, right? And this is like, I know that there's a lot of holes in that theory, but it's just, again, these are just things that I'm thinking of as I'm watching this film. So in the comment section, I really just want to know what you think about this theory, and what to you is the most pivotal Jackie Chan film. Is Armor of God a pivotal film? And let's just talk about Jackie Chan in the comments. My name is Will, Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. It's a good place to end this video. I thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.